Hi, it's Karun Chandok, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
Here I am. I'm done.
Well, in Madrid, people are saying, is the new Aston Martin driver Fernando Alonso the new James Bond? Juan Bond.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Juanes Bondes.
How about Haman Bond?
Well, it's just
Hamon Bond.
The silliness is insane, but we've got this tweet queued up for visual for YouTube and stuff, and this is where Albon comes in.
Oh, this is good.
And, you know, because we saw Alex Palou do it, we saw Piastri do it, where they're refuting what the team had just announced. Yeah, the team says that we've signed Alex Palou, and then he says, no, you haven't. And then the same thing happens with Piastri. Well, Albon comes out and says,
Good words.
I understand. With my agreement, Williams Racing have put out a press release this afternoon that I'm driving for them next year. And then he says, this is right. I have signed a contract for Williams for 2023.
Tongue-in-cheek.
Well, and I retweeted it with the quote saying, so I guess this is the new standard of how drivers are going to do it because...
Well, I guess if you want to put another flip on it, so what happens is Alex Palou says he has not been signed by Ganassi. That's where this all started. Ganassi, he was the IndyCar champion working for Ganassi, and McLaren were looking at him. And Ganassi put out a tweet saying, well, we're happy to re-sign him. And he said, no, that's not the case. And then McLaren immediately said, we've signed him. And at which point, Otmar Szafnauer in Formula One did pretty much the same thing with their reserve driver once Alonso went. And this is where I stand up for Piastri and Webber, who's his manager, that this is right, which is no one expected Alonso to leave, and he was on a year-from-year agreement. And he wanted to stay longer in Formula One. Yeah, he's 41, but he ain't any slower. So he wanted a long-term agreement. Mr. Stroll offered him that. He took it. And Piastri went, well, you weren't going to give me a drive anyway, so of course I'm sniffing around at McLaren.
I do love the McLaren strategy, though. They can't lose to all
Sign
the other,
everybody.
They can't lose to other teams if no other teams have drivers.
That's
they've
true.
Signed them all.
We've got all the...
We've got them all.
We have all the drivers, right?
I'm going to win Wimbledon because I have all the balls.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. This is crazy. The fact that the lawyers are going to be, this is really, and the crazy thing is we don't really know what happened right now. We don't know who really has a contract. And if they do, what that contract says.
Well, there was a lovely moment today in the IndyCar race at Nashville where Alex Palou was leading the race for Chip Ganassi. Chip Ganassi's on the pit wall, and the commentators quite rightly reminded Chip that, hey, what are you going to do if he makes victory circle, given that you're suing him?
Yeah. We are going to talk all about that IndyCar race here in a minute.
Yeah,
that was...
well, and so it's interesting because Palou's lawyers have requested that the lawsuit be moved to federal court.
Yes.
Because it's a more diverse, more
in Indianapolis,
wide, whatever.
Unbiased, what do you call it?
Yeah.
Neutral ground.
And so I thought that was really interesting. But here we go, the days of Alex Palou.
Hey, Jonathan, we've got this clip that you clipped out.
I did.
Set that clip up for Casey if he's got it ready for us. He's shaking his head. Yeah, set it up for us.
Well, the other part of this story, in a weird way, is Pato O'Ward because, so again, more history. Palou and Pato O'Ward are now looking as though they will become McLaren drivers, or at least under that hood. Colton Herta,
in what series? We don't know.
Colton Herta, who is an Andretti asset and was expected to go to Formula One with Andretti Autosport and the money he gets from Gainsbridge, is now potentially looking at McLaren as well because Zach Brown, who runs McLaren, has offered Pato O'Ward, Colton Herta, and to a certain extent now he's signed Palou, an opportunity to drive his F1 car, albeit a spec that is, by the rules, a year older. But that puts them all in a potential seat for Ricciardo's seat, which we still don't know who's going to fill.
Well, and so we caught up with...
Well, that was just to put it in context. So Pato O'Ward, though, we caught up with in Miami.
At Miami, right.
And you asked him the simple question. Well, the question's in the answer, but here's what he had to say about the growth of Formula One in America.
I want to ask you, you said that the excitement level here, but don't you think that this excitement level brings kind of that rising tide, lifts all boats? It's got to be good for IndyCar, good for everybody.
I think it's good. But I think it's also really hurting IndyCar because everybody knows what F1 is now, and everybody wants to go to an F1 race now. And in IndyCar, it's they need to watch it. They need to up their game. And it's not to talk down on IndyCar or anything, but they are not doing close to enough to what they have to be doing, because F1 with just having 3 races in the US is already more than double or 3. I mean, it's massive. Everybody knows what F1 is, and sadly, it's not the case with IndyCar.
That's a biting comment.
Not to talk down about IndyCar, and then
they won't be pleased with that.
And then he immediately just talks down about IndyCar.
Yeah.
And that was in Miami, in May?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But still completely relevant.
But I love Pato. He does speak from the heart.
I love the fact that he'll say whatever's on his mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right, gentlemen, let's do our quick first break. When we come back, we'll talk some IndyCar, and we got lots more Formula One, too. And we'll touch on MotoGP tonight. You're listening to Speed City. Back after this.